6:02 a.m. Dawn crawls over New York City, turning the skyline gold and spilling light into the glass-walled penthouse office of Dominic Bale, the most feared Mafia-backed CEO on the East Coast. Today was supposed to be the biggest day of his empire. The global launch of Bale Industries' $100 billion defense tech system. A project built on brutality, sleepless nights and blood spilled in backrooms across the country. Investors flew in from Dubai, London and Silicon Valley. FBI was monitoring from a distance. Media crews were already lined up downstairs, ready to broadcast the unveiling live. A historic morning for Dominic Bale. But inside the penthouse, a different kind of history was unfolding. Because on the long Italian leather couch, two bodies lay tangled, half-dressed, intimate and exposed through floor-to-ceiling windows. Sienna Brooks. 24. Beautiful. Dark-skinned. A janitor with no business being anywhere near the top floor. And Dominic Bale himself, shirt open, belt loose, his arm draped over her waist like he owned her. From outside, through the glass walls meant to symbolize transparency and power. It looked exactly like a billionaire CEO, and rumored mob prince, had spent the night with the cleaning girl. Then, flash, flash, flash. Explosions of camera lights burst from rooftops. Drones hover. Reporters scream across skyscrapers. Dominic Bale and the janitor. Scandal before the billion-dollar launch. Who is the woman in his office? Sienna's eyes snap open. Her heart slams so hard she hears it echo in her skull. Her skirt is pushed up. Her legs bare. Her bra strap hanging loose. His body against hers. And the cameras, everywhere. Her breath shatters. No, 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 no. She shoots upright, scrambling to cover her chest. Too late. The entire world is watching her humiliation live. Dominic wakes next, slow blink, 1 second of confusion, then pure lethal fury. Not panic. Not fear. Rage sharpened to a blade. He sees the cameras. The drones. Her. A janitor. In his arms. Before the most important day of his empire. His jaw locks. What? Do? He growls. Before she can answer. Boom. The penthouse doors burst open. His security team storms in, slamming the blinds down, blocking the cameras. Boss, they got everything, drones, rooftops, street angles. Everything. Investors are panicking. The launch is collapsing. Dominic's aura turns murderous. He grabs Sienna by the wrist and drags her across the office. She stumbles, terrified, trying to speak. He's past listening. He shoves her into the private marble bathroom and slams the door behind them. Her knees shake. His voice comes low, controlled, deadly. Who sent you? He steps closer. Who paid you to ruin me? Who paid you to sleep with me? I don't remember anything, she whispers, tears filling her eyes. He slams his palm beside her head, the marble cracking under the force. Dominic stepped closer, his voice low and cutting as he said, "Don't pretend innocence now, Sienna. You begged for it, you begged me to touch you." She flinched, shaking her head, insisting she couldn't remember any of it, her voice trembling with confusion and shame. His jaw tightened, eyes burning with accusation as he scoffed. "Stop lying," he hissed. "You're a desperate little liar and you know exactly what you were doing. You expect me to believe this is an accident?" His breath is hot and sharp against her ear. "My billion-dollar launch just went up in flames because you were on my couch half naked." Her chest rises and falls in panic. "I swear. I don't know what happened." He cuts her off. His hand wraps around her throat. Not enough to kill. Enough to terrify. She coughs, eyes reddening. "You're going to kill me, sir. I swear I know nothing. I don't even remember how I ended up there with you. Before I tell you what happened, subscribe to Maria Love Stories. And comment where you're watching from." Dominic has taken down spies, assassins, cartel infiltrators. But never did he expect the next threat to be his invisible maid. A clumsy janitor. A nobody. His phone vibrates. He releases her with a shove. As he turns to answer the call, Sienna runs. He runs like a fugitive. Down the stairs. Through the emergency exit. Breathless. But then, a thought hits her like a slap. Why am I running? Why didn't I stand there and fight for the truth? "Why are you running, you idiot?" she gasps, stumbling, collapsing into a sitting position as panic crushes her lungs. Back upstairs, Dominic ends the call. He doesn't yell. He doesn't rage. He simply says the words that freeze the entire hallway. Find her. Bring her to me. A chilling pause. Alive or dead? Yes, boss, his men respond instantly. Sienna's blood turns to ice. Because Dominic Hale believes. She ruined his empire. She was planted to destroy him. She is the enemy. No. The world has seen something she doesn't even remember being part of. Dominic stalked across the penthouse, every muscle in his jaw ticking with barely controlled fury. He dropped onto the leather couch, palms pressed against his face, trying to calm the storm ripping through him. But then, something caught his eye. A faint smear of red on the edge of the discarded white bedsheet. He froze. Slowly, he reached out, fingers brushing the stain he hadn't noticed in the chaos of the night. His breath hitched, anger twisting into something colder. Something sharper. A virgin. They had sent him a virgin. Dominic leaned back, eyes narrowing as a bitter laugh escaped him. Unbelievable, he muttered into the empty room. You really thought this would work? Sending an innocent girl to trap me? The thought made his blood boil. Whoever planned this wasn't just reckless. They were stupid. And now that he knew the truth, one thing was certain. This wasn't just a setup. It was a declaration of war. The night before, New York City had gone quiet, but the penthouse office of Dominic Hale still glowed like a cold, lonely tower carved out of steel and ambition. The building's cleaning crew normally worked long after midnight. But tonight only one girl showed up. Sienna Brooks. 24. Broke. Exhausted. A daughter drowning under medical bills and overdue rent. Trying to stay afloat in a city that eats the weak alive. She pushed her cleaning cart down the marble hallway, her wrists aching, her feet screaming inside worn-out discount shoes. She'd worked 3 double shifts in a row, barely surviving on adrenaline and stale cafeteria sandwiches. Before heading up to the CEO's private floor, a place the janitors weren't allowed unless absolutely necessary, she stopped by the tiny 24-hour coffee stand in the lobby. "1 iced coffee, extra strong," she whispered, voice hoarse. She took a sip as she dragged herself toward the elevator. Felt familiar. But something tasted wrong. 10 minutes later, a strange heat crawled up her spine. Her palms grew slick. Her heartbeat turned violent, too fast, too loud. The hallway stretched into a tunnel. What's happening to me? She tried to grab the wall, but the world tilted violently, and she collapsed straight into Dominic Hale's arms as he stepped out of his office. Shock cracked across his hard features. No one was ever supposed to be on this floor while he was working. Especially not a cleaner. "What the hell are you doing here?" he snapped. But the second he felt her trembling, his tone shifted. "Hey, look at me." He didn't even know her name. Heat pulsed through her bloodstream. Her eyes glazed. Her breath hitched. Her mind drowning in a fever she didn't understand. Her fingers moved on their own, touching his jawline. Running down his collar, slipping onto his chest. He caught her wrists. "Stop. You're not in your right mind." But she lifted her face to his, pupils blown wide, lips trembling. She wasn't Sienna anymore. She was a woman burning from the inside out. Drugged, overwhelmed, helpless. Then, she kissed him. Not softly. Not innocently. A desperate, hungry, heat-driven kiss. He froze. 1 second. 2. 3. He knew something was wrong. She wasn't thinking clearly. He should have pushed her away. But her heat, her scent, her whispered breath against his mouth. Something in him cracked. He pulled her back. Their mouths collided again. Harder. Hotter. Wrong but unstoppable. Her hands dug into his hair. His grip tightened around her waist. Their control disintegrated. They crashed onto the leather couch. Buttons scattered. Shirts came undone. Her skirt pushed up. His belt loosened. Their kisses turned frantic. Raw. Intimate. Their bodies moved like a match finally igniting a room soaked in gasoline. She gasped his name. He murmured hers against her skin. Heat. Breath. Motion. Surrender. They made love. Intense. Reckless. Wrong. And breathtaking. When it was over, she lay on his chest, trembling, breathing hard, trying to fight the darkness consuming her vision. He stared down at her like she'd cast a spell on him. She whispered something he couldn't understand, then collapsed completely unconscious right on top of him. The night swallowed them. The city kept moving. And sunrise would bring hell. Back to morning. Hell had already begun. The moment Sienna stumbled out of the penthouse bathroom. Hair messy. Shirt half-buttoned. Leg shaking. The world was waiting. Flash. 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 Drones hovered outside the glass walls like vultures. News trucks swarmed the streets below. Reporters screamed her name. Sienna. Over here. The janitor who slept with the billionaire. Did he pay you? Are you his mistress? Sienna froze. Her vision washed white. Her humiliation went global in seconds. Her image, half-dressed, terrified, confused, flooded every news site, every live stream, every social feed. Trending #1. The janitor and the billionaire. Her phone buzzed non-stop. She seduced him for money. She ruined a $100 billion launch. She should be arrested. Her world crumbled under a storm she couldn't explain. Because she didn't remember any of it. Not the couch. Not the chaos. Not the heat burning her body. Not the way her mind had gone blurry. None of it. But it didn't matter. Downstairs, the boardroom erupted in war. Dominic Hale stood like a storm preparing to strike. Phone after phone rang on his desk. Board member #1. Dom, the investors are panicking. Everything is crashing. Board member #2. This launch is done. Wrecked. Board member #3. You look unstable. This scandal could tank the company. Each call sharpened his fury. Each headline bruised his pride. Each viral photo twisted the knife deeper. A him asleep with her. A his hand on her waist. A her bra strap sliding off. Their bodies tangled. To the world it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't confusion. It looked planned. It looked like she seduced him. Or was sent to destroy him. And in his mind only one explanation made sense. Sienna Brooks played him. She set me up, he said coldly. His security lowered their heads. Boss. Should we bring her in? His jaw flexed. Lock the exits. Seal the elevators. She couldn't have gotten far. Find her. His men obeyed instantly, spreading through the tower. But downstairs, a sympathetic guard shoved Sienna into a service elevator and whispered, "Go. Run. Before they get the official order." Her heart raced like a trapped animal. The elevator doors opened. And chaos swallowed her whole. Cameras. Microphones. Shouting. Flashes. She couldn't breathe. She didn't even drink. So how had she lost control like that? A security jacket slipped off her shoulders. She tripped. Fell. Scrambled back up. Kicked off her shoes. And ran barefoot into the New York streets. Tears streaming. Heart shaking. The world chasing her. Reporters screaming behind her. Running from shame. From confusion. From the internet. And from Dominic Hale, the Mafia-backed billionaire. Who believed she had just destroyed everything he ever built. Sienna's lungs were on fire by the time she slipped into a tiny 24-hour laundromat on the corner of East 39th Street. She ducked behind a row of spinning dryers, her bare feet freezing against the tile floor, her whole body shaking violently. She escaped Dominic Hale's men. She escaped the reporters. She escaped the cameras. But she couldn't escape the world. Because directly across the street, a massive Times Square-style digital billboard flashed. Breaking news. Janitor ruins $100 billion tech launch. Her picture, half-dressed, terrified, mascara smudged, lit up the entire block beside Dominic's furious face. Pedestrians stopped. Whispered. A woman sneered. She should be arrested. A man muttered. Girls like that will do anything for attention. Another laughed. She messed with the wrong billionaire. Sienna hugged her knees, tears dripping onto her palms. How did her nightmare hit the news this fast? How did everything collapse in less than an hour? How was her life ruined before sunrise? Her mind spiraled, reaching for the only person who ever mattered. Hannah. Her best friend since childhood. Her sister in everything. Her safe place in a brutal world. Hannah would comfort her. Hold her. Help her figure out what really happened. With shaky legs, Sienna left the laundromat and walked home, hiding her face from street cameras and pulling her shirt tight around her chest. By the time she reached her apartment building, her heartbeat had finally slowed. She smiled weakly. ready to collapse into Hannah's arms. She slid her key quietly into the lock. But before she pushed the door open, she froze. Hannah's voice drifted from inside. But it wasn't soft. Wasn't shaking. Wasn't sad. It was wicked. It was laughing. Sienna pressed her ear to the door. And her soul shattered. Hannah laughing. I slipped the drug perfectly. Sienna's breath died. She fell right into Dominic Hale's arms, exactly like we planned. Sienna's hand shook violently. Now everyone thinks she seduced him. The idiot still hasn't figured out she was drugged. Hannah's voice darkened. We killed the $100 billion launch just like you wanted, sir. A loud laugh followed. Fucking fool. Sienna felt her knees buckle. Her best friend. Her ride or die. Her sister. Drugged her. Set her up. Destroyed her entire life. Her body went numb. Hannah continued, voice dripping with pride. Don't worry, boss. I handled everything. The scandal will ruin him and her. Your plan worked perfectly. Boss. What boss? Who is Hannah working for? Sienna's tears blurred her vision. Her lips trembled. Her chest collapsed inward. The dizziness. The heat. The kiss. The blurred memory. The way she fell into Dominic's arms like she was pulled. It wasn't her. It was the coffee. Hannah must have bribed the barista. It was all planned. She covered her mouth, silent sobs shaking her whole body. Her friend, her only family, had betrayed her for a mafia enemy Sienna didn't even know existed. Slowly, painfully she swallowed her tears. A deep new coldness filled her veins. She pushed the door open. Hannah spun around instantly, eyes wide, face painted with fake shock. Sienna. Oh my God, she cried, running toward her. I saw everything online. Are you okay? Sienna nodded weakly. Eyes swollen. Hands trembling. Inside, her mind was razor sharp. Silent. Observing. Hannah wrapped her in a hug. Warm arms. Cold soul. She squeezed tightly, pretending to tremble with worry. Oh my God, babe, I've been sick. Calling you non-stop. Everybody's looking for you. But it's okay. I've got you. We'll get through this together. Sienna held the hug. Pretending to be broken. Pretending to trust her. Inside her chest, a storm was forming. She needed answers from the coffee shop. She needed evidence. She needed the truth. And she needed to stay alive long enough to find it. An hour later, Hannah moved around their small apartment like the perfect best friend. I made soup for you. I put your favorite blanket on the couch. Try to rest, okay? I'll handle everything. Sienna lay curled under the blankets, pretending to be exhausted, pretending to cry. But her eyes tracked Hannah. Every step. Every whisper. Every glance at her phone. Hannah kept checking her messages, turning her screen away every time Sienna looked. Her hands shook each time her phone buzzed. She whispered fake sympathy. Dominic Hale probably thinks you planned this. He's dangerous, Sienna. The Mafia backs him. Be careful. You shouldn't go anywhere. Just stay here. With me. Fake concern. Real guilt. Sienna forced her voice to tremble. I'm scared, Hannah. Hannah squeezed her hand. I won't let anything happen to you, she said softly. Lies. All lies. A message flashed across Hannah's phone before she locked it. Did she confess yet? Sienna's stomach twisted. She pieced everything together. The drugged coffee. The dizzy collapse. The scandal exploding instantly. The betrayal. The Mafia. Her world was changing. Her innocence was dying. A darker, sharper version of her was being born. The knock. Loud. Hard. Aggressive. The kind of knock that freezes blood. Hannah stiffened instantly. Sienna sat straight up, heart pounding. Someone was at the door. And whoever it was, they weren't here for small talk. The knocking didn't stop. It grew louder. Harder. Meaner. The crash. The door flew open. Dominic Bale stepped inside like a storm made human. Cold eyes. A jaw carved from steel. Wrath wrapped in an expensive black suit. Behind him, 6 of his men flooded the small apartment. Black coats, black gloves, black faces. Every shadow a weapon. Sienna froze on the couch. Her breath hitched. Her heart pounded. Hannah screamed dramatically. Leave her alone. She didn't do anything. She's innocent. Perfectly. Too perfectly. Dominic didn't even look at her. Not once. His eyes locked only on Sienna. Get up. Two men grabbed her by the arms. I'm not going anywhere. I didn't do anything. I'm also a victim here, she yelled. Hannah continued her fake panic. Please. Don't take her. She's traumatized. Sienna's eyes went hollow as she watched her best friend perform. Everything about Hannah was fake. Dominic leaned close, his cold breath brushing her cheek. You caused chaos. Now you pay the price. And without another word, he dragged her out of the apartment like a criminal caught red-handed. The hallway. The stairs. The cold night air. Everything blurred. Outside, a black SUV waited, tinted, armored, ominous. They shoved her inside. The door slammed. Her heart raced, her throat tightened. Dominic slid in next to her. His jaw locked tight, eyes fixed ahead. Phones buzzed non-stop. Advisors shouted from the other end. Boss, the scandal is everywhere. This destroyed the tech launch. You need to control the narrative. The safest solution, marry her. Make it believable. Make it permanent. Sienna's stomach dropped. Dominic didn't look at her. Didn't blink. Then he said the words that sealed her fate. Fine. Prepare the chapel. Her hands shook. Marriage? To him? To the man who nearly killed her? She stayed calm. Observing. Surviving. The SUV tore through New York City past flashing cameras, screaming reporters. Headlines blinked across billboards. Cleaner traps billionaire. Penthouse scandal destroys launch. Finally, the SUV stopped at his Manhattan mansion. Cold, enormous, guarded like a fortress. Inside, a private chapel awaited. White candles. Marble floors. A priest who looked terrified. Stand, Dominic ordered. She obeyed. The priest stumbled through the vows. Dominic's voice was ice. You ruined my reputation and my empire. You will fix it. Sienna whispered, tears streaking her face. I didn't plan this. I swear I'm also a victim. He ignored her. Moments later, stamp. The marriage certificate hit the table. Her fate sealed. The public lie. They stepped out of the black car, Sienna in a designer dress, her smile forced. Dominic held her hand like she was a prize. To the world they looked perfect. To Sienna it felt like walking beside a predator. At the press conference Dominic took the mic. My wife, he said. The words punched her lungs. I have been in love with her for a long time. I married her willingly. She is not a maid. I have always loved her. Gasps. Camera flashes. Whispers. Sienna leaned on his shoulder, blushing on cue. Why? A performance. Survival. By the afternoon, headlines softened. Secret romance? True love. Sienna stayed silent. Silence was power. The mansion cage. Guards escorted her back inside the mansion, her gilded prison. A beautiful, expensive room. A lifeless room. At midnight she heard it, click. The door locked from the outside. A prison, she whispered. He kicked, screamed into a pillow, hatred burning hotter than ever. Daylight. A fake paradise. Guards followed her everywhere. Two behind. One ahead. Another pretending to check his phone. No privacy. Not even to breathe. At events, Dominic kept her close, hand around her waist, lips brushing her cheek, charm masking the monster beneath. Behind closed doors. You walk too slow. You embarrassed me. Don't forget what you owe me. Sometimes he squeezed her wrist until she winced. Sometimes he blocked her path, forcing her to meet his eyes while he insulted her. Once he tied her up for hours demanding answers she didn't have. But Sienna stayed calm. She memorized guard schedules. Eavesdropped on private calls. Noted passwords in hidden rooms. Every insult, every night of terror made her smarter. Every fake smile made her stronger. She wasn't a prisoner. He was preparing. The first crack. One quiet night, Dominic roared from downstairs. Who sabotaged it? Find out now before they destroy everything. Sienna's eyes opened. Sabotage. Someone else wanted Dominic gone. Her prison suddenly didn't feel hopeless anymore. The call that broke her. Her phone vibrated. Hannah. Sienna answered, voice soft and trembling. Hannah. Oh my God, Cece. Are you okay? Are they hurting you? Do you need help? Sienna forced fragility. I'm fine, just overwhelmed. Hannah cooed, perfect concern dripping off her voice. I'm praying for you. I'm here. Stay strong. After the call, Sienna opened Hannah's info. A hidden banking alert caught her eye. Black Funds Corp. Mafia linked. Recent deposit. Her hands trembled, not with fear but rage. Hannah wasn't just greedy. She was bought. The full truth. Using the mansion's guest tablet, Sienna traced the transactions. Every trail led to one man. Dominic Sears. Dominic's sworn enemy. Ruthless Mafia heir. The man who orchestrated the $100 billion launch disaster. Everything clicked. The coffee. The collapse. The kiss. The cameras. It wasn't accident. It was a setup. And Sienna had been the weapon. Her heart froze. 22 years of friendship. Fake. Paid for. Tears burned her cheeks. She wiped them fast. Cry later. Right now. She needed answers. She needed survival. She whispered, cold as steel. Hannah, you played me. But now, it's my turn. Sienna's legs gave out beneath her. One moment she was standing in the guest room of Dominic Bale's Manhattan penthouse. The next, the world tipped sideways. Her vision blurred. Her chest tightened as if something had clamped around it. And then, darkness swallowed her whole. The white room. When she opened her eyes, everything was unnervingly white. Sterile. Cold. Empty. A doctor hovered nearby, flipping through her chart with careful hands. You're awake, he said softly. You fainted, stress, exhaustion, and something else. Sienna's voice trembled. Something else. The doctor's eyes softened. You're pregnant, Mrs. Bales. The words hit her like a freight train. Pregnant. With Dominic Bale's child. Her hand drifted to her stomach. A life. Growing from a night she hadn't chosen. A night she never meant to have. Panic gripped her chest. She could almost hear Dominic's cold, commanding voice echoing. You will fix what you ruined. If he discovered the truth, he'd use the child to control her. To cage her. To break her. No. Not this time. I want this private, she whispered. No one, especially not him, can know. The doctor hesitated, then nodded. Her secret was safe. And the gears of her escape started turning. Meanwhile, in the East Wing, Dominic Bales paced his office like a caged lion. Shadows from the city lights cut across the room, highlighting the tension in his face. Mason, his advisor, stood stiffly. Boss, we found something about the scandal, he said. Dominic snapped. What now? Mason swallowed hard. It wasn't her. Dominic froze. Mason placed a file on the desk. Photographs, bank transfers, recordings, a full timeline of events. And then security footage. Grainy video from the coffee shop. Hannah slipping something into Sienna's drink. The drug. The betrayal. Dominic's face went pale. He couldn't blink. Couldn't move. The realization crushed him. Hannah was working for Joey Sears, Mason said quietly. Everything was meant to destroy you. Sienna was just the bait. Dominic felt his knees weaken. All the nights he had terrified her, locked her in rooms, threatened her, called her worthless. He had punished an innocent woman. His hand shook over his mouth. Sick. Crushed. What have I done? He whispered. He had almost ruined her life. Almost taken her life. The confrontation. He ran to her room. Heart hammering. Soul trembling. Sienna sat by the window, staring blankly into the night. Sienna, his voice cracked. She didn't move. He dropped to his knees. Look at me. She finally lifted her eyes, cold, empty, broken. I know the truth, he said, voice hoarse. You were drugged. Hannah set you up. Joey Sears orchestrated everything. Tears burned in his eyes. I hurt you. Punished you for something you didn't do. But I almost killed you. His voice broke completely. I'm sorry. Please. Forgive me. Sienna's jaw tightened. Her voice was ice. You tormented me. Locked me up like I was nothing. Called for my death. She stood. Do you understand? You almost killed me, Dominic. He bowed his head. Speechless. Breathless. Crushed. Sienna walked past him toward the door. I don't forgive you. He turned, broken. Sienna. She didn't look back. Dominic rose slowly, eyes burning, not with anger but with war. I'll make Hannah pay, he whispered. And Joey Sears, He'll wish he were dead. Hannah's world collapsed with a single piercing scream. Dominic Bale's enforcers dragged her down the long marble hallway of the Bales estate. Her nails scraping against the polished floor, her legs kicking wildly, her cries erupting into desperate, choking sobs. Please. Please. Mr. Bales, I'm sorry. Dominic, please. Her begging didn't move him. Dominic stood still at the end of the hallway, a cold statue in a tailored black suit, the kind of man who could watch the world burn without blinking. His voice was calm, too calm. Take her. Hannah thrashed harder as the men pulled her away, her screams echoing across the mansion. But Sienna didn't look away. She stood in the corner of the hall, arms crossed over her stomach, her expression blank, emotionless. She watched Hannah plead, beg and lie, just like the night she slipped drugs into her drink. There was no friendship left. No sympathy. Only silence. Justice tasted cold. But it was still justice. Joey Sear's fall. By noon, every underground channel was humming with the same headline. Joey Sear's empire is collapsing. Warehouses raided. Millions seized. Capos arrested. Allies scattering like roaches in the light. Dominic Bales had struck fast, mercilessly, tearing Vincent's criminal empire apart piece by piece. Even Jogue's own men whispered. Dom's lost it. He's out for blood. But Dominic wasn't losing his mind. He was making damn sure what happened to Sienna never happened again. Hannah's breakdown. They tossed her into an interrogation chair, tied her hands, left a single hanging bulb to burn above her head. The second Dominic stepped inside, she shattered into pieces. I did it. I drugged her. Vincent Moretti paid me, he planned everything. I swear I didn't think she'd get blamed. Please don't kill me. Dominic stared at her with dead, hollow eyes, the eyes of a man drowning in guilt. You ruined a woman who never touched you, he said quietly. You ruined my wife. Hannah sobbed violently. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Dominic turned away. Done. Get her out of my sight. She screamed until the door slammed. Sienna didn't flinch. Didn't look back. Didn't shed a single tear. She simply walked down the hall and disappeared into the dark. The quiet decision. That night, Sienna closed her bedroom door, her heart shaking in her chest. Her baby fluttered softly. She stared at the mansion around her, the gold walls, the locked doors, the memories of fear. She knew one truth. Her child could never grow up here. Not with Dominic. Not in this world. Sienna packed quietly. Folded her clothes. Tucked away the little cash she had. If you do the same thing, subscribe to Maria Love Stories and tell me where you're watching from. Pulled her hoodie over her hair. She pressed a hand to her stomach. I'm saving you, even if it destroys me. Then she slipped out, silent, invisible, and vanished into the night. No note. No warning. Just freedom. A new identity. 3 cities away, Sienna became Ferdine, a quiet woman living above a tiny bakery in Pennsylvania. She worked odd cleaning jobs. Battled through pregnancy alone. Made cheap dinners. Took slow, careful walks so her baby stayed safe. But for the first time in months, she slept peacefully. No guards. No insults. No locked doors. Only warmth. Only quiet. Only hope. Every night she whispered to her belly. You're safe now. Mama's here. Back at the mansion. Dominic returned from a business trip, fresh off salvaging his billion-dollar company launch. Exhausted, frustrated, distracted. He opened Sienna's bedroom door. And froze. The bed was cold. Half the closet was empty. Drawers left open. Her scent fading from the air. His heart seized. Sienna. Silence. He stormed through the mansion, checking rooms, hallways, corridors, panic rising with every second. Nothing. She was gone. Completely gone. His voice cracked as he roared. Find her. Find her now. But deep inside he already knew. This wasn't an abduction. Sienna didn't want to be found. The mansion felt wrong. Too quiet. Too still. Too empty. Dominic Bale stepped into Sienna's room. The room she barely slept in. The room he once locked her inside. And for the first time the air didn't smell like guilt or anger. It smelled like her. Soft perfume. Warm skin. Someone he didn't deserve but still wanted. Then he saw it. A folded envelope half hidden under an open drawer. He picked it up. Medical papers. At first he didn't understand what he was reading. Then the words slammed into him like a truck. Pregnancy. 12 weeks. Stable condition. His heart dropped straight out of his chest. His breath broke. His hands shook like he'd been shot. No, he whispered to the empty room. Sienna, why didn't you tell me? But he already knew why. He had trapped her. Threatened her. Dragged her. Nearly destroyed her. And she was carrying his child. A broken sound escaped him, raw, painful, almost inhuman, as he collapsed into a chair, gripping the papers like they could put time in reverse. He stood sharply, eyes burning. Get in here, he roared. His men rushed in. Sir. Find her, Dominic said, voice shaking. Nationwide. Every state. Every road. Every camera. Every hospital. He wasn't giving orders like a mafia boss now. He was begging like a man who realized he'd lost the only person he truly loved. Before he ever said the words. Weeks later. A small town in Pennsylvania. Sienna walked slowly down a quiet street, belly round beneath her oversized sweater, groceries tucked against her stomach. Her new name, Sarah Dean, rolled easily off her tongue now. A small cafe job. A cheap rented room above a bakery. A life where no one knew her past. For the first time in months, she felt almost safe. Until she felt someone watching her. Turned. And her heart stopped. Dominic Bale stood across the street. No guards. No guns. No threats. Just a man. With devastation in his eyes. His gaze dropped to her belly. He broke silently. Sienna, he breathed, voice cracking like glass. She didn't move. He stepped forward. She stepped back. Pain flashed across his face, but he didn't chase her. Not this time. He didn't try to force his way into her life. He simply appeared. Quiet. Shadow-like. Devoted. When she walked home late, a black SUV idled near the corner, watching. When her groceries were too heavy, the shopkeeper mysteriously said, "Someone already paid for you." When an old enemy mailed her a threat, the letter vanished overnight. Her rent stopped increasing. Her job grew easier. The streets suddenly felt safer. Sienna noticed. She knew it was him. One evening she stepped out of her prenatal checkup and found Dominic leaning against a lamppost. Alone. Hands in pockets. Eyes tired. Heart in pieces. "I know you hate me," he said quietly. "And you should. But, let me protect you. Please." Her throat tightened. "You broke me," she whispered. "I'm not going back to that mansion. I'm not going back to you." He swallowed hard. "I know. For the first time in my life. I won't force anything." His voice trembled. "I'll stay wherever you want me. Even if that's far away." A single tear slid down her cheek before she could hide it. "I don't trust you." "I'll earn it," he said softly. "No control. No threats. Just protection. Until the baby comes." She turned away. But her heart didn't feel as heavy as it used to. The first contraction hit like lightning. Sienna gasped, grabbing her tiny apartment wall. Her water broke at her feet. She tried reaching for her phone, but pain shot through her so violently she dropped it. Before she could scream, the door burst open. Dominic, breathless, terrified. "Sienna." She collapsed into his arms. "It's too early," she cried. "I've got you," he whispered, voice shaking. "I'm here. I'm not letting you do this alone." He carried her to the car and sped to the hospital. Hours of pain. Screams. Sweat. And Dominic never moved from her side. She crushed his hand with every contraction. He didn't even flinch. "Breathe," he whispered, forehead pressed to hers. "I'm not leaving again. I promise." Then, her final scream. Followed by two small wails. Twins. A boy and a girl. She collapsed back onto the bed, shaking with relief. Dominic collapsed too. Onto his knees. Sobbing silently as he stared at the tiny lives he had helped create. Every icy wall he ever built shattered. He touched their soft skin with shaking fingers. "I love you," he whispered, voice raw. "I loved you even when I didn't know how to." Sienna inhaled sharply. She wasn't ready to say it back. Not yet. But she placed their daughter in his arms. And that alone was forgiveness. Recovery was slow. Sienna kept emotional distance and Dominic respected every inch of it. He bought diapers, cooked meals, rocked the twins to sleep, cleaned the apartment, softened every edge of himself. No yelling, no threats, no commands, just a man trying, every day, to deserve her. Little by little, Sienna softened too. One morning, watching him hold both babies against his chest, humming softly, she realized she wasn't scared anymore. She was falling for him. Fully. Safely. Honestly. Months later, the wedding. The chapel in the Bales mansion looked different now. Warm. Covered in flowers. Filled with soft light. Not a prison. Not a threat. Home. Dominic stood at the altar holding their twins, eyes soft. Not the Mafia king, but the man she rebuilt. When Sienna reached him, he whispered, "No chains. No threats. If you say no, I walk away. But if you say yes, I'll give you a life you never have to run from." Her heart trembled. "Yes," she whispered. Not out of fear, but love. He kissed her gently, reverently, like she was the only softness in his brutal world. Sienna embraced her new life with strength. She learned everything. Business, alliances, the dark corners of the Mafia world. She walked rooms with quiet power. People whispered her name with fear and respect. The queen beside the Dragon King. Dominic never stood in front of her to shield her. He stood beside her. Always. Their twins grew in a world protected by two parents who survived betrayal, pain, enemies, and fire, and still chose love.